The weekly message of the United Church of Christ of Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, a podcast version of our worship service. To learn more and listen to the rest of the worship, check us out online at hummelstownucc.org.
So this week, our readings push us to stories on the large scale. The eras of physical and social change that Jesus tells will all decline. The origin of the incredible and incredibly troubled monarchical line of Judaism that's intertwined with Hannah's prophetic child-to-be. And while in that distant future there can be vision of hope and continuity, this week, for me, it just feels too big, too far out, too far removed is hope beyond. If, however, that is how you are hearing these stories this week, if in the distant futures Jesus predicts as birthing change, the generations of leadership encouraged by Hannah's son, you're seeing the encouragement you need for this week, I encourage you to hold on to those threads in this moment, to see the grandeur of history stretching out along with you, along the arc of the universe's call. And in that tapestry of time, to see into the minute possibilities that are made real when we come together in our pain and our trust. Hannah's story begins in the story of jealousy. Jealousy of one family member who seems to have been blessed by God's good fortune, and another who suffers at the hands of the unseen, unjust forces of nature. For thousands of women, millions of women, 10% by some statistics, Hannah's pain is personal. It is intimate as she is living with humiliation coming from the other wife at her infertility. And sure, in our majority monogamous culture, we could discount that concern. But what if we saw that as the jealousy of a sibling or a sibling's partner? Knowing that in every family encounter, this person who knows your trigger points will be there and has the ammo to tank your mental well-being. Well, let's just say as we approach the holiday season, Hannah will certainly not be alone living in that tension. And her husband seems to try to assuage her frustrations, but doesn't really understand. So she's left to deal with her bullying alone. And for that humiliation to come based on a biologic and, at the time, uncontrollable fact is doubly hurtful. There is literally nothing she can do. And even now, with our medical advances, there is never any guarantee that fertility is possible for families of all kinds. So what do we do when we are so held down by expectations? When our faith expects a certain path of us, and our culture privileges those who have what we cannot have, and our power is incredibly limited. Hannah's story points us to the perfect early Hebrew scriptural response. We will just exist and wait for God's favor to come to us, which of course it will, and our purpose will be fulfilled. Yay, God! It's perfect. But before that perfection to come, and in the realities that sometimes perfection doesn't come, Hannah's story offers us real despair, suffering, an insensitive religious life to be heard. In her frustration, Hannah goes into a house of prayer, passes the priest managing the space, goes to speak directly with God, which was something new, let's be honest. In her time, that was not known. It would not have been expected to be in a silent prayer space. But save me from this pain, dear God, is what she cries. To bargain and promise and express her unswavering devotion, she offers the exact thing she is wanting as the prize for being given the thing she is wanting, this child. And to this prayer and bargain, this offer, she is ridiculed all the more by the religious authorities who claim she is drunk because silent prayer was not a thing. And so her honest, vulnerable interaction with God is even ridiculed and trivialized. In all these layers of the story there, I see so many glimmers of people I have known throughout my life, for the real struggles of infertility and family injustice and religious indifference, the bargaining to just feel worthy. And maybe that's why I cannot make the jump just yet to that second half of our reading. The military-esque song of triumph that's included in the lectionary in place of our psalm, and which multiple hymn writers have remolded into hymnody throughout the years. It is a wonderful song of the reversals of fortune. It's true. But before we move into that future, we raise up all those who are living in unjust and fearful situations, much as she was clinging to in the main part of her tale. We raise up the concerns of generations of women who have felt their worth to God and history was only to be found in their ability to birth. And we sit with that reality a while longer. We make space for those who are unable to bear children, but want to. And for those who have no desire to bear children. And for those traumatized by the bringing forth of life. Because in this moment, I think we must be very careful to point out that our scriptural traditions were never intended to be blueprints for everyone to come after. That the point of the library of the Bible, that contains so many conflicting and contradicting stories, is to tell us that there cannot be one monolithic, one-size-fits-all relationship with God and humanity. And so, as much as we would like to read our text as prescriptive, we cannot, for the health and safety of the community and everyone in it. Many of our neighbors and family members and friends will never be parents, some with gratitude and some with grief. To make room for all of that, for the partner who struggles with making family, we have to pause in the story of a privileged child's birthing. Hannah is a story of a woman who wants to be a mother and struggles, but not all women want that life and should never be encouraged to. Hannah is also a story of overcoming bullying family and faith sources, and we should never wish for anyone to experience that side of her experience, and too many people do every day. So to fully open this story into community, we must place it alongside our own experiences and ask, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? And what can ensure the world will thrive through my existence? Not everyone is called to birth the next generation of prophets, but we are all still called to engage the story and connect to it, because there is always another layer to empower us to live as God's people. This story is about the birth of kings, too. And as a non-monarchical society, we don't seek in her story the reign of rulers either. But we can connect with the need for leadership that comes from a place of vulnerability. We don't need the status of God's chosen people to work for the safety and fulfillment of community, and we don't need a divine ruler to communicate on our behalf. What we do need is an openness to relationship with the divine, with those whom we can bring within our struggles, our triumphs, our fears. You know, when Tyla started elementary school, her teachers taught the class the sign, SANE. Encouraged the class to use it when they connected with another story. It makes sense. Rather than having each child raise a hand to say, I did that this weekend too, or talk over each other during a circle time, you can all just say, SANE. It's an ASL sign, which I had to find this week because I wondered, does this mean connect? They say it's connect. I'm connecting with your story. But it's the sign for SANE. And it seems to me that we might be needing to hear it in these stories this week, too. To be able to say to our scriptural heroes, SANE. If we are needing to live into the safety of personal relationships with God, as Hannah does in the temple, SANE. If you are expecting the collapse of structures known for generations, as Jesus speaks to, SANE. If you're living with loneliness and isolation, SANE. If you're clawing your way out of despair, if you are hoping for a new day, SANE. And if you're seeing the beauty of God's realm with justice and with joy on the horizon, sing. These stories offer us an extra dose of connection this week. And as we go out to find the way forward with hope and love, we use their words to invite a view beyond our experience so that we can say same. And so that we can also say, I see you. To those living as Hannah lives. I see you. To those who live in hard times. I see you. To revolutionaries who push boundaries like Jesus and invite change as a birth of something new. Amen.
This has been the weekly worship from the United Church of Christ of Hummelstown. No matter who you are, or where you are, on life's journey, you are welcome here. Join us online or in person, at 104 East Main Street in Hummelstown, Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Thank you for listening today. We look forward to your fellowship.